Hello, everybody. Hello. Good evening. I'm still working on some things. It's good to see you. Hi, Susie. I am so glad you are here. Um, Welcome, everybody. I am Dorothy Burton, your host for um, uh, The Truth Behind the News, and I was in prayer for my daughter. She has a big presentation tonight before City Council in uh, California out there, and I was just praying for the Lord to be with her. Tonight, we are going to talk about this Senate race. We are going to keep talking about this Senate race because it is the hottest race um, in town. We have talked for the past 2 weeks about Congresswoman Crockett, and last week we talked about J.D. Vance and the comments that he made about her, and the week before that, we talked about what she would have to do as far as relatability to voters around the state of Texas. And tonight, we are going to be talking about James Talarico. Y'all, I'm going to full disclosure. Some of us who worked really hard on the public school vouchers this past summer, State Representative Talarico was our champion in Austin, along with others. And I remember I called him. It was a particularly bruising session. I did not know James Talarico. I had just only been following him because we were fighting against these school vouchers, right? And so I had contacted his office, and I was shocked when he called me back and said, "Y'all have to understand what I do." See, a lot of people don't know what I do. They know I post a lot on Facebook and say a lot of crazy things, and don't bite my tongue when it comes to a lot of things. But I really am my real service and work is to those who are in public office. And those of you who know that I founded an organization called Christians in Public Service after I graduated from Dallas Theological Seminary. And it was to minister to Christians who serve in the public sector. Last year, because I'm so ticked off about how Christianity has been bastardized by Christians, I asked my CPA to look into changing our name from Christians in Public Service to Christ followers in public service, and that's what we that's what the name changed it to, because I don't want there to be any mistake about what I do, what I represent, what our organization is, and that is Christ followers in public service, or SIPs. So I say that to say the background to this. So I get to meet and talk with and pray with a number of elected officials, because you can't imagine. I mean, having been a 4-term city council person myself, unless you've been in the arena, you cannot imagine how tough it is. It is tough, and particularly today, with things being so divided and so crazy. So what the Lord has given me to do, I and sometimes, y'all, when I be praying and the Lord put somebody on my heart, and I go, "Lord, I know you ain't trying to tell me to go and talk to this person or call this person, or they don't know who I am," but yeah, he does. And so that was the case with, hey, Michael Goodman, I'm glad to see you. Hey, Renee. So that was the case with James Talarico. I don't know if y'all remember the scariest one I did. I know I'm diverting here, but I feel I need to say this, so because I don't have a tie to Talarico, but in a way that I do, because he's my brother in Christ, and I'm going to make that connection, and I'm trying to make, and so is Congresswoman Crockett. She's my representative. Um, so back to what I do on the down low, behind the scenes. I get to interact with a number of elected officials. just privately, just praying with them, calling them up, or even going to see them. I remember, um, oh God, what was her name? Susan Hawk. If you guys are in Dallas and you remember Susan Hawk was the DA, a Republican DA. Man, she went through some horrible times, horrible times. And I remember this was now our organization was still very young. And I was praying one day, and the Holy Spirit put Susan Hawk on my brain. I had never met Susan Hawk. I did not know. I knew who Susan Hawk was because I read about it in the paper, right? So I called her office and I talked to her assistant and said I wanted to make an appointment to come and talk with Susan Hawk. I told her who I was. I was with Christians in Public Service, the founder of that, and I just wanted to come and just visit with her. People are usually kind of nice, when you tell them you're Christians, or, they know you don't want anything from. And that's another thing, y'all, with elected officials. People always wanting something from them. Always. I mean, I know that they're elected. I mean, I was elected, but it's always people just want things from you all the time. And you're just constantly giving out and giving out and giving out. And sometimes you just give out. But then you have to go out there and put on that public face and be brave and have all the answers and all that kind of stuff. And then you go back to your office and you just crater. Because a lot of times you don't have anybody that you can talk to. You don't have anybody that you can trust. And it is just a weird place to be. Susan Hawk at the time, she was going through, some drug stuff. She was going through a hard time. She was a woman. She was Republican, all this stuff. Yeah. So, okay, I made the appointment to go and talk to Susan Hawk. And I'm going to get back to Talarico because I kind of did the same thing with him. So I went and talked to Susan Hawk, and here I'm going, y'all, taking, I had my spiel all down, to introduce my organization, to tell her who I was, who we were, and all that kind of stuff. And I had my speech down. I forgot I was going to talk to a lawyer. I forgot I was going to talk to the district attorney of Dallas County, right? Y'all, Susan Hawk came in there. I introduced myself. She introduced herself. And I begun to tell her about Christians in Public Service and what we do. Susan Hawk has her papers on me, y'all. She could tell me my history. She could tell me who I was. She told me who Christians in Public Service was. All those things. And I go, man. But we had a nice chat because I was just able to talk to her, a sister to sister. And that's when the Lord sends me to talk to people. It's not their title. It's not what they do. It's who they are. And they are a brother and sister in Christ. And even if they're not a brother and sister in Christ, they are a human being serving people in a very difficult situation. So that's what I do. Okay, that's really what that's my work. That's my work. So we were working on this school voucher thing. Now, Greg Abbott is evil to the core. We know that. We know that. So it was the school voucher thing last summer. It was the blue bonnet thing last summer. The religious curriculum that is now part of the curriculum in public schools. And it was also, what else? Oh, the chaplains. Y'all remember that? The local school districts had to approve it, but they passed a thing where chaplains would replace counselors in schools. So we were fighting wave after wave after thing when it comes fighting for our public schools. And Talarico was leading the charge down in Austin, along with others, but mainly him. And so the Holy Spirit told me one day. Now I didn't know Talarico. I still haven't met James Talarico. We've talked on the phone. I called him, his office actually. I didn't expect to talk to him. But then I get a phone call from an Austin number, and it was James Talarico. He actually called me back. He didn't know who I was. He knew who I was. My organization, he knew who I was. And I said, I just want to thank you for what you're doing down there for us. And I said, do you mind if I just pray with you? And he said, oh God, would you please? And I go, yeah, I would. And so I just prayed with him, and he was so appreciative. He said, I can't tell you how much peace that just gave me. And I said, you're welcome. And then he gave me his cell number. He said, this is my private number. I'm going to give you my number, so you won't have to go through my assistant. I give you my number. Now, have I called him? No. Why? Because people call those kind of people all the time for stuff. I don't. But anyway, so I want to say that in full disclosure, that's my connection with Talarico. Okay. So this, okay, we're going to get into James Talarico because he's not only a very interesting character, but he has been, I don't know any other way to put it. We have two rock stars running, but two rock stars running it, two very different rock stars. And, you know, when I think of James Talarico, this is who I think about. Y'all look, now y'all tell me, don't James Talarico look kind of like Opie? Look at Opie and look at James Talarico. He kind of look like, yeah, he looks like a grown Opie. Anyway, anywho, we fix to get serious. Okay, so the thing about James Talarico and Jasmine Crockett is this: both of them are going to have to figure out a way to expand their base. And they just had reporting, I think this past week, and James Talarico raised $7 million this quarter. $7 million. He's raised $13 million since launching his bid for Senate. And the first 3 weeks that the 3 weeks after he had filed, he had raised like $6 million. Now, what's the guy's name? Chuck Rocher. Excuse me. He's a Democrat strategist. He has said that Talarico has the it factor. The it factor. But the thing about it too, Jasmine Crockett has the it factor too. They just have the it factor in a different way. Now, the thing with Talarico is this: what I'm seeing with Talarico that I am not seeing with Jasmine Crockett is Talarico, although he has less name ID than Jasmine Crockett, he is penetrating different people groups. And when I say he's penetrating different people groups, not only is he doing that in Texas, he's doing that high profile. So, I mean, Joe Rogan, I'm going to play you a clip here in a minute. MSNBC or MS, whatever it's called now. I don't watch either that or Fox News, but MS, whatever now, whatever it is. They both have star power, but in a different way. And Talarico is making a concerted effort. If you watch what he's doing, he's making a concerted effort to hit African Americans, Hispanics. Remember we did that last couple of weeks ago, and he was down in the valley. Joe Rogan. I'm gonna play you some clips and show you him in different settings. What Congresswoman Crockett is not doing is having a presence in these different settings. And also, Talarico, even though he has less name ID, Talarico has such relatability to a wide swath of people, particularly Christians. Now, one of the things that Congresswoman Crockett said last week that kind of made me wince a little bit was that Democrats don't need to try to, in essence, win over Republican voters. She said that would be a mistake. I don't agree with that. Even if you look at on the national level, George Conway, longtime Republican. He just filed to run in New York as a Democrat because there are so many disenchanted Republicans that if they had an alternative, they would vote for that alternative. And what Talarico is giving them is an alternative. Jasmine Crockett is saying she doesn't see the need in that. Now, Talarico, if you know his history, Talarico is only 36. I think Congresswoman Crockett is very young too, in her early 40s. But Talarico has a history, because when Talarico was first elected, he was first elected when he was 29 years old. And he was elected to a district in 2018 that had gone for Trump, that had gone for Donald Trump. This boy flipped the district in 2018 at 29 years old that had previously gone big for Trump. So he doesn't have, he said his thing was this. He said behind all of his decisions, his politics, he said what drives him is Jesus' commandment to love God and love your neighbor. And he doesn't put any qualifications on that. Whether you are Republican or Democrat or gay or straight, none of that. As a matter of fact, if y'all recall a couple of months ago, what is this dating site? What is it called? What is it called? It's called let me see. I wrote it down. Hey, I don't visit it. But he got slammed for it. OnlyFans. So apparently his account was following some women, and OnlyFans is escort and modeling site. So the Republicans tried to come after him for following OnlyFans, some couple of 3 women on OnlyFans. And the only thing that they can come after him on is to try and crack his armor by being so outspoken about his faith. So when the Republicans came at him for his account following OnlyFans, James Talarico said, we follow actors, we follow musicians. And he said this, and I said, you know what? That's the kind of response that we all should have. He said, I'm not going to judge them or participate in an effort to smear them for clickbait. He said, I'm not going to do that. He said, so y'all can go off and say whatever you want to say, but I'm not going to participate in that. I'm not going to judge these women. I'm not going to, do all this for clickbait. And that's the kind of stand-up guy that he is. Now, let me show you some clips, and then we're going to come back and talk about how people are comparing him to Barack Obama and Pete Buttigieg. And that is real. So why does Talarico have such appeal? I just told you he raised $7 million this quarter. Most of his donations, now this is from his campaign. We don't know this to be so, but most of his donations, according to his campaign, 98% were from $100 donors or less. And why is that important? Because when you have the majority of your donors as individual donors, as small donors, those are people that are dyed in the wool voters for you, and they are going to vote for you. Now, he took some flack early on about taking money from a PAC or this woman who owns the Mavericks, but that didn't stick either. And he has committed to that. He said, according to his campaign, 215,000 individual voters that gave $100 or less. During the same period, we don't have numbers from Congresswoman Crockett. And keep in mind, she did get in the race late. But when these numbers just came out this week showing the crazy outsized fundraising that is going into the coffers of James Talarico, Congresswoman Crockett said that in a statement that every quarter last year was a record for her, but she wouldn't say how much it was. And like I said, in all fairness, she did get in the race late. Let's look at some clips from Talarico to show how he is strategically going to various population groups and his strategy. Because remember, I've said all the time how big Texas is, how vast Texas is. And it's going to depend upon who can relate to people in East Texas and West Texas, and not just only these, the metropolitan areas, where most of Congresswoman Crockett's support is going to come from. Her support is going to come from urban areas. It's going to come from urban progressives. It's going to come from Black women. It's going to come from the major urban centers. Yeah, Black voters, women, and urban progressives are her strengths. On the other hand, if Talarico makes inroads into either one of those groups, Congresswoman Crockett is going to be in trouble. Because on the flip side, and I'm just saying, y'all, I'm just giving an analysis here. And some people I know are going to get down in the comments and say all kinds of things about, I'm not supporting Congresswoman Crockett is my Congresswoman. But I'm not going to sit up here like a whole lot of Black people sit up here and play the Black thing. I'm not going to do that. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is about truth. And I'm just going to tell you what's true. It would be to her peril to just appeal to those three groups. And the 2,000 plus uncommitted voters, and not make part of her strategy, as Talarico is, going after disaffected Trump voters, because there are a lot of disaffected Trump voters right about now, and there are going to be more. And it's not a matter of trying to suck up to them or trying to, kiss their ass and all that kind of stuff. It's not that. It's strategy. It is strategy. And I'm going to show you a clip. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show y'all 3 clips. So you may as well get some coffee like me or get something. And then we're going to come back and talk about, because I'm going to show you what Talarico is doing that Jasmine Crockett is not doing. And it's going to be to her peril. Let's see. I have 3 clips, and I am going to start with, I'm going to show you one with Joe Rogan. I'm going to show you one with a guy who is an atheist who don't believe in God. And then I'm going to show you Talarico at a Black church over the Christmas holidays. Let's start with the atheist. We're going to look at the atheist. We're going to look at the Black church, and we're going to look at Joe Rogan. Now, out of his comfort zone, none of these are his natural supporters. Atheists aren't his natural supporters. Black church people, not his natural supporters. And Joe Rogan, we know who Joe Rogan is, a staunch Trumper. That's not his natural supporter. But you will hear him say, we have to be able to go outside and reach across to all kinds of people, Democrats, if we are going to win. And that is his strategy. Let's start with the guy, with the atheist.
A lot of people went to church for the first time this weekend in a while. I'll be quite honest with you. I did not. I didn't go to church. My family's begging me to go. I think we got a good little thing going on here. I like where my spirituality is at. I'm okay right now, but thanks for praying for me, folks. I appreciate prayers of all sorts, whatever God you kneel down to, as long as it's all healthy and happy and positive stuff and it's not tearing us apart. Now, the problem is so many people are using church, Jesus, God, Yahweh, Allah Buddha. I don't care, but it's mainly Christian nationalists. They're using words of the Lord that were transcribed through the Bible. A lot of them were never actually said, and they're using it to continue to divide us. They're using it to pick political sides. That's why I love James Talarico. He might be a Democrat, but he's like an 8th generation Texan, right? And he actually tells you what Jesus was actually preaching in a way that reminds us the very basic principles of love.
Christian nationalists say they want to base our laws on the Bible until they read the words of Jesus. Release the prisoner, welcome the stranger, liberate the oppressed. Instead of posting the 10 commandments in every classroom, why don't they post money is the root of all evil in every boardroom? Why don't they post do not judge in every courtroom? Why don't they post turn the other cheek in the halls of the Pentagon? Because they're not interested in legislating Christian values. They are only interested in legislating Christian dominance.
Jeez, go easy on us. It's only Monday. A lot of good-natured people have been suckered from either radicalized pastors or just church leaders that try to divide. I mean, I've seen this play out. I live in a deep, dark red state now, and I've seen this play out where like words will just be used and you're supposed to blindly follow them. And if you really do want to support the teachings of Jesus, you should be absolutely rejecting so much of what's going on out there, so much of the idolizing of the president, as if he's like, literally, there's like AI images of him hugging God. Like, what are you doing? If Jesus came to the United States right now, I think he would be disgusted by what he sees, by so many people that wear a cross in his name. And to be quite honest, I think a lot of these so-called Christians would call Jesus some woke libtard or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? I truly do. A lot of people went to church for the first time this weekend.
Did y'all hear that? Let me know if you did, because I keep saying I'm going to stop using these buds because they always give me problems. I don't hear. But let me know if y'all heard that interesting conversation with that guy. That guy said whatever you believe in, but he was so impressed with Talarico because Talarico was able to go in there and say, you know, he can talk about his faith. He could talk about his faith with an atheist. And that guy said, I may not agree with you, or I may not believe in that God, but you know, that makes sense to him. Let me show you another one. Thank you, Sheila. Let me show you, let's see which one we're going to look at next. We're going to look at Joe Rogan next.
There's reason and good reasons to be disillusioned.
Mm-hmm.
I guess all I'm pushing back on is that second step of it's always going to be this way.
Right. It doesn't have to be this way.
That is the key step.
Right.
So I'm
That's
not on.
because you need to run for president.
Yeah.
We need someone who's actually a good person.
Those clips of you on Joe Rogan were rocketing around social media, and as I understand it, around some Democratic circles of, first of all, who is this guy? And second of all, he's a star. What kind of reaction have you had to that Joe Rogan appearance?
I mean, it's been overwhelming. And I think it shows that we Democrats have to get out of our comfort zone. We've got to meet people where they're at. And we can't be afraid of uncomfortable conversations with folks who may not agree with us yet. And that's what I was trying to do. Before I went on Joe Rogan, I went on Fox News. I went on the Christian Broadcasting Network. I'm trying to reach folks who may not always hear directly from a Democratic elected official. And, you know, if we want a small, insular, pure group, then we should start a social club. But a political party is supposed to be a big tent, a big coalition, so that we can win political power and make people's lives better. Politicians should be trying to recruit folks into that coalition, because politics is about addition, not subtraction. There's reason and good reasons to be disillusioned.
Mm-hmm.
I guess all I'm pushing back on is that second step of been overwhelming. And I think it shows that we Democrats have to get out of our comfort zone. We've got to meet people where they're at. And we can't be afraid of uncomfortable conversations with folks who may not agree with us yet. And that's what I was trying to do. Before I went on Joe Rogan, I went on Fox News. I went on the Christian Broadcasting Network. I'm trying to reach folks who may not always hear directly from a Democratic elected official. And, if we want a small, insular, pure group, then we should start a social club. But a political party is supposed to be a big tent, a big coalition, so that we can win political power and make people's lives better. Politicians should be trying to recruit folks into that coalition, because politics is about addition, not subtraction. There is reason.
I played that. I played that twice. And I played that twice because if the Democrats are going to win, and I'm hearing this feedback. Hang on a second, because I want to be able to show you. Yeah. Okay. I want to be able to show you this other clip, and I don't know why I'm hearing this feedback, but anyway, we'll work through it. All right. So I played that twice because I want you to hear what he said as opposed to what Jasmine Crockett is saying. Let's see. I wanted you to understand and hear what he was saying, because Jasmine Crockett's strategy is totally different from that. And the Democrats have not won in Texas since, I believe, 1987. They have not won. So I don't know how you Democrats are going to win if you don't reach out and reach across, to disaffected Trump voters. And not only that, but if Congresswoman Crockett is going to win, she is going to have to reach out more than just with urban voters, with Black voters, and with women voters. And that's principally those three groups that she's going to focus on. Not so with Talarico. Now, let me show you this last clip. And it is, this is from this past Christmas. Let me find it. And James Talarico was just as comfortable here as he was with Joe Rogan.
What would Jesus do if he visited the United States Senate? I think he would say, "Depart from me, for I was hungry and you cut my food assistance. I was sick and you kicked me off Medicaid. I was a stranger and you deported me and my family. And then I think he would flip over those fancy desks and demand that we take care of all our neighbors, especially the least of these. Matthew 25 tells us exactly how we will be judged and how we will be saved. By feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger, by visiting the prisoner. Nothing about going to church, nothing about reading the Bible, nothing about being a Christian, just helping others, just loving. What would Jesus do if he visited the United States Senate? I think he would say, "Depart from me, for I was hungry and you cut my food assistance. I was sick and you kicked me off Medicaid. I was a stranger and you deported me and my family." And then I think he would flip over those fancy desks and demand that we take care of all our neighbors, especially the least of these. Matthew 25 tells us exactly how we will be judged and how we will be saved. By feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger, by visiting the prisoner. Nothing about going to church, nothing about reading the Bible, nothing about being a Christian, just helping others, just loving. What would Jesus do if he visited the United States Senate? I think he would say, "Depart from me, for I was hungry and you cut my food assistance. I was sick and you kicked me off Medicaid. I was a stranger and you deported me and my family." And then I think he would flip over those fancy desks and demand that we take care of all our neighbors, especially the least of these. Matthew 25 tells us exactly how we will be judged and how we will be saved. By feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger, by visiting the prisoner. Nothing about going to church, nothing about reading the Bible, nothing about being a Christian, just helping others, just loving. What would Jesus do if he visited?
So, what are your thoughts so far? What do you think? Let me hear from some of y'all before I go into the last part of this. And like I said, I don't want to make it appear as though, and I'm not. Like I said, Congresswoman Crockett is my congresswoman. James Talarico, both of these young people, y'all, we cannot miss. We are so blessed to have both of them. But what I am saying about James Talarico is that James Talarico is really making the effort, as you just saw, that he's not leaving no votes on the table. He's not leaving no votes on the table at all. And it would be to the detriment of Congresswoman Crockett to just focus on Black women, urban progressives, and Black voters, women, and urban progressives. Y'all saw James Talarico in that Black church. Y'all saw James Talarico on Joe Rogan talking about, if Democrats just want a small tent, we may as well just, fold up the tent and have a little social circle. So the money is pouring into his campaign, and unless you're in Texas or unless you really understand this Christian nationalism, the same way James Talarico went up in that black church is the same way James Talarico will go to any white church and say the same thing. His message doesn't change. And he has no fear because it goes back to what he said. You done all you can to warn. I have, Celeste. I have. And she's my congresswoman. But you know, I ain't nobody. But I tell you what I am. I'm a watchman on the wall, and I get to talk, and I get to have a whole lot of private conversations with a whole lot of people. And I'm telling you what I know without saying any names or anything like that. It's just going to be tough depending on 2 stars. I wish weren't 2 stars. I wish weren't against, but you know, he had no idea that Congresswoman Crockett was going to get into the race, nor she didn't have any idea that she was going to be gerrymandered out of her district. He's authentic. Yes, he is, Renee. He is that. I'm gonna tell you how authentic this young man is. When he was and a lot of people don't know, he fought really hard. If you followed him, he fought really hard for prescription drugs. Particularly, he fought hard to lower the cost of insulin in Texas. Do you know why he did that? Well, when he was running the first time, the boy walked. Now, keep in mind, he's a young man. When he ran for this the first time, he was 29 years old when he flipped that Republican district. This boy walked 25 miles, just walked across his district. That's how bad this boy wanted. I'm trying to tell you, and I'm trying to tell Jasmine Crockett, you're not going to win with star power. You're not going to win with Hollywood stars. You're not going to win with Gavin Newsom. You're not going to win that way. This boy right here, that you saw, he'll go anywhere. He'll go, and the thing about his message don't change. He's the same. He don't change. So when he says that he is fighting for lowering drug prices, let's see what Diane said. He can diffuse a lot of Bush BS spewed by Christian nationalists. Yes, he can. And while Jasmine is great, yes, she is. I supported him the moment he declared, you know what? I didn't know my congresswoman was going to get in the race. I didn't know my congresswoman was going to get in the race. I have not declared for anybody. I mean, like I said, this young man is something special about this young man. And I believe that when you go through hardship, pain, and agony when you're young, like me, you know, a lot of people don't know my story. A lot of people don't know why I fight so hard for the little guy. Why I, as strong of a Christian as I am and love the Lord, I love all people because I know what that's like. Let me see, Victor. Victor says a simple question: which one can beat the GOP? Look, that's what it boils down to. And that's what the Democrats, like I said, it's two very good candidates. But when you go through things, and I'm getting to something with Talarico. When you go, see, I was a foster kid, right? I mean, my aunt and my uncle raised us, but I was in the system until I was 18 years old. Let's see. Sheila said, if you watch his reels on YouTube, he is speaking to many different. I'm reading this, y'all, because this goes out on audio too on my podcast. If you watch his reels on YouTube, he is speaking. Where'd you go? He is. Wait, where'd Sheila go? Sheila, I know. Sheila, what you do? What you do with your comment? I saw it. Wait a minute. Let me go back up here. Let me go back up here. Because Sheila was making. There you go. Wait. There you go. Sheila said, if you watch his reels on YouTube, he is speaking to many different audiences. He's a former public school teacher, yes. And I think he sees himself as part of the audience he speaks to. People appreciate his humility and honesty, yes. He taught in one of the poorest school districts. I believe it was in San Antonio. He was an English teacher. The boy is he graduated from UT Austin. I believe his undergrad is from UT Austin, and his graduate degree is from Harvard. But he never forgot where he never forgot where he came from. And why do I say that? When you grow up in an environment like Talarico, like me, as foster kid, in his case, he grew up, his mother was a teenage mother. And I think his mother had him when she was something like 19, and she got pregnant. As a matter of fact, her father, I believe, was a pastor, was a minister. She got pregnant as a teenage mother. She was in a very abusive relationship. James Talarico's father was very abusive to his mother. And so his mother left. And the only job his mom could find was working in a motel. And she was working in a motel as a single parent, 19 years old. James was a baby. She left her abusive husband because he was violent. And they lived in that motel room. The people were kind enough. His mother worked at the motel, and the people were kind enough to let them stay in one of the rooms because she didn't have anywhere to go with this little young baby boy. And so she married Mark Talarico. That's where James gets his name. He gets his name from his adopted father, Mark Talarico, he and his sister. So when you're raised like that, you have a certain amount of empathy for people. And I believe that that's what drives him a lot. Oh, and let's get back to this. And I want to get back to that story. Let me see. Diane said, none of us did. That's why we pledged support to. Yeah, we didn't see Jasmine getting in. That's why we pledged support to him. He can beat the GOP. I swear I wish Jasmine Crockett had stayed in D30 or tried for her new D33. I said the same thing. Let's see. Susan said Paxton and Jasmine Crockett or James Talarico. Paxton versus Jasmine Crockett or James Talarico. Yeah. 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 Back to him. Okay. He's 25 years old. He's running for this seat. He's walking this district. The boy walked 25 miles. And he almost went into, and see, this is why he fights so hard, fought so hard last session to get these insulin prices down. He almost went into a diabetic coma when he was running the first time. Walking across the district 25 miles, the boy got sick. That's how hard. I'm gonna tell you, Jasmine Crockett, I'm gonna tell you right now. This boy would get out there, and if he had to walk from Austin to San Antonio, he would do that. So anyway, he got sick. He almost went into a diabetic coma because he has type 1 diabetes. So when he was fighting to lower insulin costs, he knows on a personal level what that means, because he could have died. He almost went into a coma when he was running the first time, but he didn't quit. He flipped that district that was a Trump district. But I say that to say his story is so unique. That's why that strategist, that Democratic strategist, says that he got it. He got the it factor. Jasmine Crockett has the it factor too. But I say again, it comes down to relatability. Let me see what Victor said. Victor said it's too late for Jasmine to file for the yeah, it is. Yeah. But I think she had her mind. I think she had her sights set the whole time on the Senate. And I still don't believe. Y'all know what I believe? I don't believe. Now, I'm not going to say she doesn't want this seat. She does. But I believe Jasmine Crockett's star is not going to do anything but rise. And I can see her either she's going to win this and she's going to be the nominee, or I can see her in 2028 being part of Mark Kelly, Gavin Newsom, whoever is going to be running for president on the Democrat ticket. I can even see her having her own TV show. She has just that much it factor too. She just has a different kind of it factor that Talarico has. And I say it all the time. I go back to one word is relatability. When people go into that voter booth, their concern is who relates most to me. Who relates most to me? And it's three things. I'm telling you, having run for office myself 4 times. Actually, I ran 5 and I lost 1, but I won 4. People don't give a crap about you. They don't give a crap. It's all about them. It's what you can do for me, what you can do for my family, and what you can do for my community. I keep going back to that because that's what it boils down to. It boils down to the umbrella is relatability. You have to be able to relate to people, to talk to people. And Texas is funny. And as my audience grows nationwide, Texas is unlike any other state. We used to say Texas is a whole nother country. And it really is. And it really is. It was no accident. What's his name? Bobby Polito, the Tejano singer. Remember we talked about how Talarico 2 weeks ago was down in Rio Grande and they endorsed one another because Polito is easy. He's running for this congressional seat to take it back from the Republicans. And I think it's District 22. I think that's what it is. But it's down in the valley. Y'all, I don't know any other way. And like I said, black people get really, really angry because I get the comments. I see the comments down in my comments. Some I answer back, some I don't. But she is for us. Okay, it's good that Jasmine is for us. But y'all see what that boy? Y'all see what that boy? That boy on Joe Rogan, he's for the Republican. He at the black church, he's for the black people. He's on the atheist show, he's for the atheists. Relatability. I'm telling you, that is the key to winning. And if you can't relate to these people, if you can't relate to the atheists and you're a Christian, if you can't relate to the gay man or woman and you straight, if you can't relate to a trans person, if you can't relate to women, if you can't relate to black people, if you can't relate to Hispanics, you're Democrats, you're not going to win. I wish I had not deleted it, but you heard what James Talarico said. James Talarico is telling y'all Democrats, if y'all want that kind of party, y'all may as well just have a little social club because that's all you're going to have. What's in it? Let me see. Victor, that's it. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? That's all that matters. They don't care about no star power. They don't care what movie star you know. They don't care what politician you know. They don't care. It's what you can do for me. I keep going back to that because it's just that simple. It's what you can do for me, what you can do for my family, and what you can do for my community. Past that, what? James Talarico, I cannot not pass up the fact that he is a seminarian. I talked about how he went undergrad, UT Austin, then he went to Harvard. He's a school teacher, an English school teacher. So while he is a quiet, soft-spoken man, he don't back down. And his message is the same because he said, my message is rooted in one thing. My message is rooted in Jesus' commandment to love God and love your neighbor. He said, that's it. And so if you notice when he go and speak, whether he's speaking at the black church, whether he's speaking to the atheists, whether he's speaking on Joe Rogan, whether he's on MSNBC, whether he's on, you heard him say he was even on Fox News. He even got on X. They ate him up on X, but he didn't care. He went on there anyway and told Musk about himself. And that's what Jasmine is going to have to do. That's what Congresswoman Crockett is going to have to do. She's going to have to do that. She's going to have to do it. Otherwise, Talarico is going to win. Otherwise, because he ain't missing nobody. He ain't missing nobody. He would not be seen as one of the elites. No, he won't. The GOP will have a hard time painting him as an elite. Yes. They have already painted Jasmine as an elite. Yes. Yes. Renee said they. Renee, who you talking about? Renee, who you talking about? Who you talking about, Ray? She said they. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. And if I were advising my congresswoman, I'm not, but if I were, she's not going to win with just urban progressives and women and the black vote. Because some of those women and some of that black vote, they're going to vote for Talarico. Y'all saw them people in that church. And he don't make no difference between nobody. And he can relate to people. He can relate to people. See, a lot of people see Congresswoman Crockett now as a star. And that intimidates people. It particularly in Texas, for those of you who are not in Texas, and my Texas audience knows this, they are put off by that. When you go down, and Victor, you know what I'm talking about? Because me and Victor from the same part of East, we from the same part of Texas. We get it. We're from deep East Texas. You can't go down there in East Texas and, you got all this star power. They don't care about that. A lot of them people, they not scrolling on their phones like we are in urban areas. They're not on their cell phones like that. They're not on social media like that. So you go down there and you all this and that, them people ain't try, they like, what? But that boy right there, that Talarico boy, he can go to the same people sitting under the shade tree, and Victor know what I'm talking about. Sheila know what I'm talking about too. Or dinner on the ground on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. That boy will be right at home. He will be right at home. He'll be right at home. And he don't have all this. I'm telling you, that's what's going to win this race. It's going to be relatability and what you're going to do for me, what you're going to do for my family, and what you're going to do for my community. All of that stuff don't matter. And I think it is a very, very, very bad mistake for Congresswoman Crockett to say that the Democrats have played this game before, going after Trump voters and going after Republican voters. We just need to stick with our voters. See, they have a very different philosophy. One of those philosophies is going to win. One of those philosophies is going to prevail. Will it be the big tent philosophy that James Talarico, y'all just heard him say? Or is it going to be pulling in and let's focus on the Democrats and let's turn out the Democrats? I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Y'all know we've seen the numbers. Democrats don't vote like that, and black people sure don't vote like that. They don't. Not here. Not in Texas. I'm just telling y'all who ain't in Texas. We got the largest black population of any state in the union. Yes, we do, but we don't vote. I'm just saying what God loves, and that's the truth. So if your voting block is black and your voting block is urban progressives and your voting block is women, and that's all you're going to focus on, and then hope you get some of this 16% uncommitted voters, that's a very tenuous strategy. Now, I know Congresswoman Crockett's a whole lot smarter than me, a whole lot smarter, and she knows this game better than I do. They both do. All I am is a watchman on the wall. All I am is an observer. I'm watching him and I'm watching her. I'm watching him and I'm watching her. I'm watching what he does and I'm watching what she does. I'm watching what he says and I'm watching what she says. And if you listen to them, their strategy now is very much defined. We'll see which one wins. If I were a betting woman, and I'm not, I've said this before. I said this before when they came out for them districts. I said, if I were a betting woman, I bet you Congresswoman Crockett's district is going to be one of the ones they go after. Although at the time, y'all remember they had only talked about 4. He wanted 5. I told y'all then, if I was a betting woman, that 5th district was going to be my district, Congresswoman Crockett, and it was. And I'm sitting here saying right now, if I were a betting woman, seeing what I've seen so far, unless something changes drastically, and it not only the people, but the number. Y'all know at the beginning when I said When I said this boy had raised $7 million this quarter, and that he has raised $13 million since launching his bid, and that he raised $6.2 million in the first 3 weeks that he ran, and that 215,000 donors owe $100 or less. And Congresswoman Crockett, for the same period, she said in a statement that every quarter last year was a record for her, but she wouldn't say how much. If you are a Crockett supporter, y'all got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of work to do. I'm just saying, Congresswoman Crockett is my Congresswoman. Got a lot of work to do. Because this, and see, the thing I like about Talarico too, when you bring something to Talarico's attention, he does something about it. Now, keep in mind, I showed y'all this. I mean, no. It don't get no more whiter than that. I mean, it don't get no more whiter than it. They white. Talarico, white. You know, his daddy, that's his daddy's name, Talarico. Talarico is Italian, but James Talarico is white. Both his parents are white. His daddy was abusive, but he was a white man. Mark Talarico is his adopted daddy, so now he ain't Italian, he white. Okay, he milquetoast white. Milquetoast white. but that white boy will go to the end of Texas and back. He don't care if it's South Texas. He don't care if it's East Texas. He don't care if it's a black church. He don't care if it's an atheist. He don't care. He going. And that's the kind of fight and mentality that Congresswoman Crockett is going to have, because it's not going to, the star power will work on CNN, and it will work on MSNBC, and it will work in California, and it will work in DC. It ain't gonna work here. It ain't gonna work here. He's an 8th generation Texan. I'm a 5th generation Texan. I could be his mama. I mean, I've been here long, and I could be both of them mama. I can tell you what's gonna work in Texas and what's not gonna work. I've been all over this state, and I can tell you. And if it comes down to that crossover vote, that and whether you like it or not, I don't like it, whether you like it or not. White Christians vote. And I'm going to tell you who else votes. See, I'm not being racist or nothing. I'm just being honest. That's what we do here on Tuesday night. We just be honest. Because this channel is for people who are politically homeless. This channel is for people who tired of all the fighting and all that kind of stuff. We talk about the truth here. We grown folks. And when we looking at this other group, this Diane group here. Wait, let me see. What was that? Let me see. Sheila. True, Mr. Whitfield, the big city coming in the country. Oh, y'all having them conversations on that. Okay, y'all having them side conversations. Y'all, I just told you the 3 voting blocks that Congresswoman Crockett had. That is her voting block. They are going to vote for her. Black women, urban progressives, and black voters, women, and urban. Black voters, black women, urban progressives. Those are her strongholds. But I'm gonna tell you, do y'all know who votes the most in Texas? I'm gonna give you a minute. White women. And to go look it up. In 2024, I think something like 60% of white women voted in 2024. Not so for black women or black voters or urban voters. And that's why Greg Abbott, and I've said it here before, that's why Greg Abbott is fixing to spend part of this $90 million. He already said it. Go look it up. excuse me, out of his mouth, he said he has $90 million that he's going to spend for two things. Turn Harris County red. And for those of you who are not in Texas, Harris County is Houston, principally Houston and the Houston area. And he's going to use that money to reach out to that 16% of unaffiliated voters. And Greg Abbott knows, and the Republicans know. That's why Talarico, with the strategy that he has now employed, and looking at the strategy that Congresswoman Crockett is employing, the strategy that Talarico is employing lines up with almost, with the exception of Greg Abbott, is not going to go after Democrats. He's not going to go after black voters. He's not going to go after that. He's going after that 16%. And y'all heard Talarico, what Talarico said. In essence, that's the same thing Talarico said. He said, we need to broaden our tent. And that's what it's going to take if the Democrats are going to win, because they have not won since 1987 statewide. And if I were a betting woman, they would reject it. Who? The Republicans? Tell me who they reject. Type that in. Tell me who you're talking about. So Talarico has a strategy, and a persona, and a background, and a story. And the biggest thing that Talarico has, I keep going back to that word, relatability. The Democrat strategist calls it the it factor. The it factor, the it factor is relatability. And if people can't relate to you, they're not going to vote for you, even though you may look like them. Even though you may look like them. I got a comment from two people. And one of them said, Talarico don't have no black people in his ad. This one guy said, I saw a black man on the back of a pickup truck, but that's it. And so I wrote, I didn't write him. I wrote his assistant. I said, look, y'all ain't trying to get no black votes. I did. I said, because I looked too. I said, I sent the comment. I said, and that man is right. I said, I don't see no black people in his, and I don't see no black people in his, I don't see no black people in his ad. You know what he did? Y'all saw what he did. He went right to black people, because it's something that once you bring something to somebody, it's one thing if they don't know, but the true test of a true leader is when you bring something to their attention, and they will either ignore you or they'll weigh in the balance what you're saying. And it doesn't matter who you are. When they weigh in the balance, a true leader, when they weigh in the balance what you're saying, and they see that what you're saying is true, what they're going to do, they're going to go right to that thing. If it has merit. Talarico, being from down there in Round Rock, in Austin, ain't too many black people down there. It's mostly white and it's mostly Hispanic, and that was his comfort. He wasn't around black people like that, and that is a blind spot for him. So since he knows that is a blind spot for him, guess what he's gonna do? You saw what he did, and you're gonna see him more and more, because he knows that urban progressives, and he has a lot of urban progressive votes already. He has a lot of white women already. He has a lot of men already. But I guarantee you, if Congresswoman Crockett just depends on those urban professionals and the black vote and the women vote, she's going to lose. She's going to lose. Because Talarico already has the majority of the white male vote. Talarico already probably has the majority of the biggest voting bloc in Texas, which is white women. Talarico already has, that's why he was in the valley. And I want y'all to connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. He's from South Texas. He taught in a poor Hispanic district, a school teacher. So if Congresswoman Crockett were smart, and she's very, very smart, and I know she has some very smart people working with her and for her. Talarico is leaving no people group. He's leaving no people group on the table. Let's see. Celeste said, if the constituents feel heard, it's to the candidate's benefit. He apparently knows that. And I live in a predominantly Black Hispanic neighborhood. I want to start walking the block for him. See? I'm telling you, y'all, this is who this boy is right here. I keep going back. Listen, I keep going back to Opie. He's Opie. Just that's just who he is. And I wanted to do this program tonight, and I entitled it, Who is James Talarico Really? And I hope, and I'm not pushing him. These past 2 weeks, I have not been pushing Congresswoman Crockett. All I'm doing is just laying out for y'all the landscape, so that when you see this stuff played out, you'll know exactly what you're seeing and why you're seeing it. You'll know exactly why you're seeing it. And let's see. Big Lita, I told you, Jack. Listen, he looked like Opie. He does. He looked like Opie. He does. God bless him. He does. But y'all, that's the story. And I hope I've let me see if I left anything. Oh yeah. But you know, Congresswoman Crockett got that too. He got 1.2 million followers on TikTok, and it in politics, y'all, is money and it's votes. And right now, and I know we talked about that poll that Congresswoman Crockett said that she was up by 8 points, but that poll was only a sampling. That poll was only 1,500 people, 1,500 likely voters, and it was a poll taken by TSU. It was not a broad pool. It was only like 1,500 people, and it was taken by TSU. And that poll said of likely voters, who would you likely vote for? And that's how it came out, that 8%. But polls a poll. That you can't judge by that. But what you can, I'm gonna tell you, what you can judge by is money, money, and people. This boy, let's see, Charles, white voter. Wait, let me see what Charles said. Go hang about. The more overt outreach Talarico makes to Black voters reduces his electability and attractiveness to white voters. You think so? Charles said, so that's gonna that's gonna taint him because he's going to Black voters, the more overt. Okay. And Charles was down there all session with Talarico. He knows Talarico better than anybody knows Talarico. He knows Talarico better than anybody sitting up here because he was with him every day. So I think Jasmine still being in Congress would hurt her being able to campaign. Yeah. Man, she's so sharp. Man. Like I said, y'all, either way, either one, I the Democrats just have to either one. Charles know what I'm talking about. I can't even get it out. I can't even get out the level and depth of evilness with Abbott and Paxton and this crew that we have in the Texas legislature. These people, and y'all, I'm saying this as a former Republican forever, for like 40 some years. These people are evil. They are evil to the core. And they showed us how evil they are last year, not just with the gerrymandering. And if y'all watched my deal last week, like I said, Greg Abbott is getting payback because they got that $281,000 for this rural health thing. Money, payback, evilness. That's what we're dealing with in this state. Let's see. Well, I am concerned that if Jasmine don't win, black people will not. Black people will not come back out in the general. Yeah. So it's like you described, hater, perfect evil. It is perfect. They're evil. They are. Ain't no other word for it, y'all. And I don't use that word loosely. I really don't. You know, I'm a trained theologian. Okay. So what, Dorothy? I say that to say I don't use that word loosely. But what I'm telling y'all is that what we are dealing with in this state is pure evil. And what we're dealing with Donald Trump is pure evil. I already told MAGA people. I already told them this channel ain't for you. Don't come in. Yeah, we Christian, and yeah, we talk about God and we love but we real Christians here. We talk about the real God here. We talk about the real Jesus here, the one that got locks like me, the one that didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. We talk about the real one here. And so I've just been as real as I can be tonight. And if anybody has the ear of Congresswoman Crockett, all I can say is don't play this boy. Don't play Opie cheap. Because Opie ain't leaving nothing out. He ain't leaving nobody out. And like I said, you see, Jasmine has to have town halls. And it can't just be with church. No, it can't be. Y'all saw that boy talking to the atheist. And the atheists don't believe in none of that stuff, what he was saying. He said, but he sure did like what Talarico was saying. Joe Rogan, you know, is one of the reasons why Trump is in office. And then Joe Rogan was telling Talarico, you know, you really should run for president. I'm telling you. He got that relatability. He got like if I call his name Charles, I know you probably know this boy, Chuck Rocha, Rocha. He's a Democratic strategist. Yeah. And people are comparing Talarico to Obama and Buttigieg. Jasmine Crockett got that star power too. I'm just saying. But this boy right here, let me see. It can't be mainstream media all the time. It can't be CNN. And see, that's what Jasmine, man, she is a star on CNN. She is a star on MSN. Is that it? MSNBC? This boy right here, Jasmine needs to go on Joe Rogan too. Jasmine needs to go sit with that atheist too. That you know, he ain't afraid to go nowhere. And just like he's bold enough, and I'm gonna tell y'all, and Charles and Victor know what I'm talking about. But the thing Talarico has to be careful is with religion. Well, let me say this. In Texas, religion and football are king. Religion and football. That's what scares. See, they would rather have, and Paxton is going to be it, and Charles knows he's going to be it. As ratchet as Paxton is, and he's ratchet. He is ratchet. Can't keep his pants up, ugly as he is, that's okay. Talking about they got a biblical divorce. Okay. Paxton is going to be the guy. And of the two candidates, The matchup that the Republicans would want would be Paxton and Crockett. I'm telling you right now. That's the matchup they'd want. That's the matchup that they would want. If Congresswoman Crockett did not win, she would have to remind her voters that the ultimate goal is to defeat the Republicans, and that's what it is. And even the same thing with Talarico, because that's the ultimate goal. And the good thing about it is we got two. Man, I want to see the debate, because both of these people, both of them are like, man, it's like you're talking about intelligence on steroids. You're talking about the ability to be able to communicate on steroids. It's Talarico and Jasmine Crockett. We can't lose. But too much of it would be a turnoff, because they will say, I might as well go with the Republicans. Who's the real Christian? In Texas, Wednesday night Bible study and Friday night lights. Yep. So let's say, yes, she does. She doesn't need to leave any voting group wondering if she cares about them. That's right. That boy going to everybody. And that money is just rolling in. Yeah. And this fight that we just went through this past summer with the public schools, he gonna have a whole lot of public school teachers behind him. I guarantee you. Yes, we do, but we don't. We must vote, but we ain't. Well, I'm not gonna say that. Now that we have Congresswoman Crockett on the ticket, she will draw people out who would ordinarily not come out. So that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. Not all black people, but if Jasmine don't win, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, to drag the black voters out. It is gonna be. Yeah. So the thing, y'all, is we have to vote. We cannot afford to not vote. And they've seen the numbers. The Republicans can't. They can win seats. They can win state legislative seats because they have gerrymandered those seats. Okay, they can win those on the state level and the congressional level. But when it comes to statewide races, it's more Democrat registered voters than Republicans, and they know this. It's more Hispanic and African Americans together than white. If you put the Asians, Hispanic, and the black and brown people together, whites are the minority in Texas. Republicans are the minority in Texas. But they have so gerrymandered that, yeah, they keep the seats. They keep the state seats. They keep the congressional seats. But when it comes to statewide, when all of us get to vote on two people, all we have to do is vote. They cannot keep us from voting. They cannot gerrymander a statewide Senate seat. If they could, they would, but they can't. All we have to do is vote. That's all. That's all we have to do. Y'all, that's all I got. I hope you better understand and know who this James Talarico is. That's who he is. That's who he is. He has a really good story. Raised by a single mom, all that, school teacher, all that. And wherever he goes, whether he's in the black church or whether he's talking to an atheist, his thing is still the same. Because he said his number one underlying thing is love God and love your neighbor. And he said, every policy that I do, that's what drives me. So, y'all, what Charles saying? A million unregistered black folks in Texas? Get out of here. Man, what? Charles, what? I already knew it in votes. Where Casey Thomas at? Where Casey Thomas and NAACP at? Y'all, I'm telling you, this Senate seat is winnable. It's winnable. It is winnable. If Black voters, Democrat voters, if they would just vote. And now that Trump has invaded Venezuela, and now that a lot of these white people have gotten kicked off of their health care, and a lot of them are suffering too, just like, I don't know what Talarico did when he was, I don't know how he flipped that district, but that's how he got in the legislature. That boy flipped that district that went for Trump. So he knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. All we got to do is vote. All we got to do is vote. All we got to do is vote. Why we don't vote, I don't know. And they count on us not voting. They count on us not voting. Talarico switched up a little during the CK situation. Charlie Kirk situation, which is back red flag me. What do you do? So what do you do? What do you do? Let's see. I worked 3 election cycles in Marshall. Y'all, Marshall is in East Texas for y'all listening outside of Texas. Don't know, it's deep East Texas. I worked 3 election cycles in Marshall before I moved to DFW. I registered so many people, you would be surprised at the reasons I heard for not being registered. Same reason we already talked about Kamala Harris and that vote and how black men vote for, how black men, percentage of them broke for Trump. Yeah. Jasmine could win this thing. She could. Let's see, I got that. Okay. Yeah. Hope people got to have hope. Yep. Y'all, and that's no excuse for what our forefathers went through for the right to vote. Any black person should be ashamed not to vote. They ain't. They not, or they charged. Charges told you it's 1 million black people ain't voted, ain't registered to vote. And they not gonna vote. Which is a shame. Which is I don't know what else Greg Abbott can do to us. I don't know what else they can do to us. I really don't. They've taken our public schools. We are already at the bottom when it comes to healthcare. 60% of rural hospitals don't deliver babies anymore. Women are having babies, in cars or can't get to the hospital fast enough. And this payoff that I told y'all about last week, that Texas got $81 million more than what they asked for. Who does that? This is payback. Trump is paying Abbott back for them 5 seats. Y'all, it's deep. I'm telling you, you have to feel something. Yeah, the candidate that can make you feel like running through a brick wall will win. And it goes back to that word, what I say, that's relatability. You sure are right. That's it. Y'all remember, some of y'all ain't old enough, some of y'all are. Y'all remember Bill Clinton? What did Bill Clinton say? What did he say? I feel your pain. Yeah, I feel your pain. You have to watch what the DNC, Charles said you have to watch what the DNC and the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee does with their money. I see, I can't, what they do? I don't know what the DNC, what you mean? Who they give their money to? Okay. Which candidate they give their money to? I got you. I like Talarico, but I get it more from Jasmine. Yeah. Like I say, she's my congresswoman. But I'm telling you, look, I told y'all this little sweet boy, this little cherub face, this little sweet boy. And I done showed you how he ain't got no fear. going anywhere to talk to anybody. Yeah. 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 So that's where we are. That's where we are. I think I got everybody's comments. Let's see. So y'all, that's where we are. Let's see. Talarico. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Tanya. So y'all, that's the tail of the tape right there. That's the tail of the tape. That's the tail of the tape. If you've been, Jasmine has a way to break it down where the educated and the non-educated can get it. She does. Like I said, both of these people, I've not seen this before. The level, the communicators that they are. I can't wait to see the debate. And both of them bring so much to the table. My only caution and concern with my congresswoman is that her focus is not to narrow her focus. That would be a mistake. And that's what I tried to illustrate tonight. Y'all, listen. If he can go up in a black church, Jasmine can not be able to go up in a white church. Her dad is a pastor. I mean, I know he's a seminarian, but her dad is a pastor. As comfortable as he is going to black churches, and we always have white politicians in black churches. We always have had that. Jasmine has to be, and there will be welcoming white churches, progressive white churches. I don't know what black church that was he was in. But yeah, it's gonna. That's what it's gonna take. That's what it's gonna take. That's what it's gonna take. So, y'all have any more questions? Jasmine just have to put it in the work and not think she's just gonna be handed the seat. Yeah. I don't think she thinks that, but she does have a lot of star power. And she does. I mean, CNN and The View and all that. But does that translate to votes down there in Lodi, Texas, or in Amarillo? No, it doesn't. And that's the scary part. And she knows that. She's from here. Let me see. It may be a little harder to go to a white church now. We open the doors for everybody. You show right at the black church. We do. Isn't that something how they can come to our churches, but we can't go to theirs? A black politician going to a white church, unless it's what? A very, very liberal, progressive white church. But white people, they come up in the most conservative black Baptist churches, and like you say, they welcome with open arms. So that's who Talarico is. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's not a bad guy at all. Like I said, I worked with him, prayed with him. But I hope I've laid out for you what his strategy is and what his backstory is. And he has a very compelling backstory that plays very well. And keep in mind, y'all, like I said, the greatest voting bloc in Texas is white women. And he has a very compelling story with white women, having his mother been a teenage mother, abused by her husband, having to live in a motel for a minute, protecting her small child and then getting away from that abusive relationship. A lot of women can relate to that, and that will play well. That his story plays well with a lot of people, and it goes back to that relatability factor. Even the fact that he almost passed out from type 1 diabetes because he was walking, the state, walking his district, not the state, walking his district and over 25 miles, and almost passed out almost went into a diabetic coma. He can relate to diabetics. And lowering those insulin costs. Do you know how many people in Texas alone depend on insulin? That's part of his story too. The single mom is part of his story too. Being a Christian, a very vocal Christian, and going up against white Christian nationalists, that's part of his story too. And it's the stories that people relate to, not the star power. And he has very compelling stories. So, but Congresswoman Crockett has the star power. And it comes back to, and I want y'all to watch this. I want you to watch it. It comes back to that one word, relatability. Whoever is perceived as being more relatable, that's who's going to win. That's who's going to win. And you have to be relatable to them people in the Panhandle as you are relatable to those people down there on Caddo Lake of the Pines in East Texas. Yeah. And it's a shame, and I hate to say it, but like I said, I'm from here. I'm from East Texas, and that makes it a little harder. It makes it a little harder for Congresswoman Crockett because a Talarico would be more welcome down there in Ore City, and Victor, I know you know what I'm talking about. He would be more welcome down there in Ore City and Gilmer than a Jasmine Crockett would, all things being equal. That's just so she's going to have to work not only harder, but she's going to have to work differently, and her strategy is going to have to be very different. Very different. Very different. Yeah. And his 1.2 million followers on TikTok. Yeah. That's the lay of the land, y'all. That's where we are. And that's who James Talarico is. And let's see. I want to be sure I get everybody's comment. I need to see Jasmine in the streets in Texas. Like, yeah. And see, it's hard for her because she's still a congresswoman, right? And we know some crazy stuff going on in DC. So she has to be there, and she has to be on the street in Texas too. So that's what makes it harder for her to cultivate the relationships that she needs to make. It takes the time and the effort. Barring that, she's going to have boots on the ground like Talarico. Those 10,000 volunteers he's talking about, and I'm telling you, he's taking a page from Mandami. He is. He's even mentioned that. Yeah, Victor, I know. We know. That's why I said the star power. Victor said that's why I know the star power would not play well in East Texas. No, at all. It won't. Renee said agreed. Same in Panhandle as well. But still, that Democrat by the name is tough too. We gonna see. Like I'm saying, Talarico got experience in flipping Trump people. Time, effort, and death threats for Congresswoman Crockett. Yep. She can't be in two places at the same time. And as crazy as it is in DC, I pray for Jasmine. I pray for her because it's not. We don't see half of the stuff that she has to go through. We don't hear a tenth of the stuff that she has to hear and that she has to go through. So I pray for her. I pray for both of them, but I particularly pray for Congresswoman Crockett. I do. Because y'all, these people, I'm telling you, these people are evil. They're evil. They are evil, and they hate her. They hate her. Okay, y'all, That's all I got. And looking like y'all tired too. But y'all see the Talarico on the news and all that. I wanted to give you his backstory. And that's his backstory. And that's his appeal. And that's his plan. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Very quietly making these inroads. Because like I said, when I did that story, when I did this podcast, 2 weeks ago, when I told y'all how he and Polito cross endorsed each other. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of relationships and things that are being built, and the networks that are being built, that is hard for Congresswoman Crockett to focus on right now. But that's what's being built here. And I'm not saying that Talarico is a bad guy. He is not. All I'm telling you is what his strategy is and what he's doing. Yeah. But we can't lose focus, and we have to vote. If we vote, we win. That is just a given. If we vote, we will win this seat. And I say we because I'm either one of these young people. Either one of these young people would be better than a Paxton or a John Cornyn. And it's their time. They don't get any better. I don't know when Texas has had any better than a Jasmine Crockett and a James Talarico. So we are blessed. We are blessed. And I just hope that, when you talk about these people, when you talk about Congresswoman Crockett, when you talk about Talarico, talk about them in a good way. Talk about them as if they were your son or their daughter or your daughter. Because that's what we're dealing with. We are dealing with some young, sharp, smart people who are putting themselves out there in ways that we cannot imagine. In ways that we can't imagine. And I would imagine that Talarico a lot of times don't feel good. A lot of times Congresswoman Crockett don't feel like doing one more appearance. So pray for these young people. Pray for James Talarico. Pray for Jasmine Crockett, and lift them up, and don't let people talk about them. And don't you talk about them. Don't get involved in social media bashing either one of these candidates, because both of them are putting it on the line, and they're putting it on the line not for themselves but for Texas, because they see and they understand. And people like Charles O'Neill, who's on here, and Victor, who's on here, and Renee, who's on here, and Diane Birdwell, who's on here, and Susie, who's on here. Y'all know we done fought some battles over this stuff. We've fought some battles. We're fighting demons in this state. They're taking our schools. They're, forcing their religion. I love the Lord too. But they ain't got nothing to do with the Lord, what they're doing. So we fighting. We are. And we're using everything we have. And whatever avenue we have, that's why I made it plain with MAGAs. Y'all ain't welcome here. This ain't your kind of party here. This ain't your platform here. It's not. I don't care about losing subscribers. I ain't chasing people. I ain't chasing followers, and I ain't chasing fans. I'm here to do what God had me to do, and that is tell the truth and make the truth be known, and to inform people and educate people and bring on people that are informed people and educate people, because that's what it's going to take, y'all. We got to look out for one another. We already seen what these people are about. They are evil, and I keep going back to that word. And whatever platform we have, whatever opportunity we have, send Congresswoman Crockett a note. Send Talarico a note and say, hey, just thinking about you. They may not even see it, but their staff will. They'll see it. I'm gonna tell you why. Because they love to get the positive stuff, because they don't get the positive stuff. They don't get the positive stuff. So please don't get in the social media thing. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't talk about Congresswoman Crockett. Don't talk about James Talarico. Lift them up. Lift them up. Support them. Whichever one you support them with all your heart, soul, mind, body. Get your parents. Get your church members. Whoever you support, go all out for them. Go all out for them. Because they need us. They need us, and especially the older of us who know better, who've been in Texas and know what we've been dealing with. So, yeah, just when you think about him, just pray. Just say, Lord, cover. Or if you're thinking about James, Lord, cover James. Lord, cover Jasmine. Just cover them. And that's what I do. And that's what we have to do. Y'all, we got to vote. Y'all see what we're dealing with. Y'all see, they had no qualms about stealing our seats. They had no qualms about forcing their religion on our children. Oh God, and I love the Lord. Y'all know I'm looking around my crosses and things. I do, but I know Him, and that's not Him, and it makes me angry because that's not Him. But they've done all that. They forced their religion on our kids. They have made trans kids, gay kids, just made it just horrible for them in the school environment. They made it horrible for school board members. And you see these schools shutting down one by one by one by one. And we've already been through that. And we went through the whole thing, all the way down to these Turning Point USA chapters that they have, because they have to recruit more of them because there are less of them. They have to recruit more of them because there are less of them, because in 20 years, America is going to be majority minority. Texas is already majority minority. Y'all, we got the power if we would only use it. If we would only use it. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. May be hard to hear, especially if you're a Jasmine supporter. I know, y'all. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm just going to tell you the truth. See, because we have to operate from truth. We have to operate from truth. I can see and I know what I need to see from Jasmine. Theirs is a false religion. Yeah, Tanya, that's it. That's it. That's the tail of the tape right there. And that's what it's going to take for her. And she knows it. She knows it. She knows it. And she has some good people. She has some great people, some great strategists working for her. But she's going to also need some foot soldiers. Some foot soldiers. And she's going to need exposure, just like Talarico. Can you imagine? Talarico had no qualms going to that black church. He had no qualms going on Joe Rogan. He had no qualms going to that atheist. At all. At all. At all. So that's where we are, y'all. And I thank you. I think I got everybody. Let me see if I want to make sure that I do. Yeah, I don't see any new comments. Y'all, I'm so thankful for you that y'all come and we do this every Tuesday. And I try to make it educational and fun and interactive, because that's what it's going to take. I ain't got time to talk about what preacher wife wear and all that. I ain't got time on that. I ain't got time on it. I ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that, y'all. We ain't got time. We dealing with some evil people. And we got to be focused. We got to be focused. You are welcome. And y'all, I see you. I love you. And we'll get to do this again next Tuesday. If the Lord say the same, y'all take care. And we will do this again next week. See you. And remember, stay positive. Don't get involved in talking about these candidates. We are blessed. We are blessed to have these young people. See y'all next time.